So, a couple things we're going to talk about this evening. I know some of you are already familiar with the compensation plan and different things as it relates to Prosperity Tax Solutions. Some of you have even watched videos. Um, but I want to go over just a couple things that may be a little bit redundant. I'm going to go through this fast, but I just want to make sure that if someone's new, if there's a new person on here who didn't get the opportunity to see in a video or getting any information prior to jumping on this Zoom, they can still walk away with a pretty good understanding of what we're doing. So we're going to cover a compensation plan. We're going to talk a little bit about getting started and what it costs to get started with us. We're going to talk about how you're going to get paid, all right, the payroll, talk a little bit about marketing and training, and then we're going to open it up for questions. So we're going to have a little Q&A session. But all in all, this should not take that long unless y'all have a whole lot of questions. Okay, so let's jump right into it. Let's talk about the money. How do we get paid here or earn money here at Prosperity Tax Solutions? Well, we do that through a 60-40 commission split, 60 going to the preparer, 40 to Prosperity Tax Solutions. The average tax return, depending on where you're located in the world, or in the United States, I should say, is going to run about 375. Now, that could be a little lower in some states. That could be much higher in some states, and in some cities in particular states. So, but on average, we're talking about $375. If you got a 60% commission split, that's going to put $225 in your pocket. So if you were to go out and get 50 customers, which that's our goal, we try to help a brand new IBO, independent business owner that's never done taxes before. The goal is to help them go out and get at least 50 clients their first year out the gate. So that would equate to about $11,250 in your pocket. Now, let's say you got a little bit of experience, you got a little bit of influence, you got a little bit of hustle in you, okay? And you're going to double that and go out and get yourself about 100 customers. That's going to be $22,500 in your pocket. Now, I just want to put this into perspective because people don't realize the tax season is only about roughly 90 days. So you're talking about somewhere between 11,000 and 22,000 in just a 90-day window. If you had a full-time job working $14 an hour, it would take you all year, working all year, 40 hours a week to bring home $22,500. If you were making $20 an hour on that job, it would still take you 9 months to bring home what the average tax professional that's got a little bit of influence, a little bit of hustle, and can go out and get some clients can do in just a 90-day window. So the compensation or the income is very lucrative here with Prosperity Tax Solution and in the tax industry in general. So that's if you're just working by yourself. And some people will just work by themselves, and that's fine. But I want to show you another option or another revenue stream that we have, and that's the ability for you to share this information with other people and make an override. So when you go out and hire a new IBO, meaning you introduce them to Prosperity Tax Solution, you're going to make 10% profit share. So if you introduce this information and you brought 10 IBOs to work with you on your team, and let's say all 10 of them hit that minimum of 50 returns, that's 500 returns. The 10% override or profit share that you would get from those 10 IBOs is $18,750. You almost made more working with these people than you did going out and preparing 100 tax returns. And I like to point out this quote here. The first billionaire in the United States name was Jean Paul Getty, or went by J. Paul Getty. He said he'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of his own, because he knew that, he could go fast by himself, but with a team, he could go much farther. Now, a lot of y'all don't know who J. Paul Getty is. Let's talk about somebody you do know. Michael Jordan. Okay, Michael Jordan made this quote: talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence wins championships. And that's what I'm here for. I think the difference between games and championships is the difference between wealth or getting rich and generating wealth. All right. So some people just want to get rich. I want to generate wealth, right? And I hope that's one of your goals, because we know the scripture says that a wise man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here with Prosperity Tax Solutions. So I know somebody is thinking bring on 10 IBOs, isn't that hard? Well, let me tell you, the recruiting process is simple, but actually getting the recruit to join you is easier for some than it is others. And I understand that. And what I mean by that, do you think it'll be harder for a pastor to get somebody to follow him, or a knucklehead, right? Not calling anybody a knucklehead, but I'm just saying, if you're a pastor, you got a little bit of influence. But if you follow the system and expose people like we show you, it doesn't matter whether you are somebody or a nobody, and nobody's a nobody, but you follow me, you'll be able to actually go out there and get people to get involved with your business. Let me give you a quick example of how you can actually share this information and get people started to work with you in this opportunity. So here's a quick role play. So this is you. So I got a friend named Charles, right? So if I wanted to reach out to Charles, I could say something as simple as, hey, Charles, I found a way to make an extra 11 grand this tax season, and I want to share it with you. This may or may not appeal to you, but can I send you a short 2-minute video to see if it does? It's that simple. So you just want, everybody got hundreds of contacts in their cell phone, more than likely, hundreds of contacts on Facebook, people that you know. You just got to reach out to them and share the information. Now, you can put it in your own language. I'm just giving you a little bit of framework. So Charles say, yes, you can send it to me. I'm gonna say, okay, cool. It's only 2 minutes long, so I'm gonna hit you back in about 5 minutes to see what you like about it. And then I'm just gonna send him the video. We got a video, Prosperity Tax Hero. And that hero, you can see it's spelled H-E-E-R-O. And the reason it's spelled like that is because we all are going to be EROs. That's an electronic return originator. That's an IRS term for people who file returns electronically. So we don't just want to be regular EROs. We want to be heroes, or HEE, because there's high earning. We want to be high earning EROs, right? So that I just did a little play on the words there. But so once I send Charles that information, I'm gonna wait a few minutes and I'm gonna hit Charles back. I'm gonna say, did you get a chance to watch the video? Charles say, yeah, I watched it. Great. I'm gonna say, what did you like best? So you don't always, you don't never want to say, did you like it? All right. You want to say, what did you like best? Because that prompts him to give you a positive answer, not do you like it, what you think, none of that. What did you like best? All right. When Charles tell me what he liked best, I'm gonna say what? Great. I absolutely loves that too. And then the next thing you're gonna do is agree with Charles. You're gonna share, agree and share, right? Agree with what he said, and then you're gonna set up a 3-way call. Now, you can do a 3-way call with anyone. It doesn't have to be myself. Whoever shared the information with you, you can do a 3-way call. So I can say, man, you know what? When I first looked at it, that's exactly what I was interested in. I mean, when they told me that I can make 11 grand by myself and go out and bring on a few people and make an additional 18, I got excited. I'm working with a gentleman named C. Aziz Muhammad. We call him Coach Cam. As a matter of fact, hold on, Charles. Let me bring him on, because I definitely want to introduce you to him. And then do a 3-way call. You can do that for anyone, right? And listen, I didn't ask Charles, you got time to do a 3-way? Do you mind speaking to somebody? No, I just simply said, man, I'm excited about working with Coach Cam. Hold on for a minute. I'm going to get him on the phone, because I definitely want to introduce him to you. Do a 3-way call. And then what I'm going to do, if you're doing a 3-way call with me, I'm going to send them another video to watch, which is probably going to be this one, because I'm going to record it, because I'm recording it, right? So that they can get some additional information. And I'm going to invite them to the next live Zoom, which is going to be on next Thursday. It's that simple. If you just follow the simple, the system, and system is an acronym. It stands for save yourself some time, energy, and money. If you just follow the system, reach out to people, expose them with a video, follow up with them, get them on the phone with somebody else. All right. That's the way that somebody who doesn't have as much influence as a pastor or a teacher or somebody like that, that's the way that nobody can still recruit more people than that somebody, because you just have to outwork them. You just have to expose more people, and you have to get them on the phone with somebody else. You got to get them on the phone with another somebody. And the great part about it is that person that you're getting them on the phone with, if they don't know that person, then they are who you say they are. So just edify the person that you're getting them on the phone with. I can be getting them on the phone with somebody who is not on the same level as the pastor, but the pastor don't know the person, so they don't know, right? So if I say, I'm going to get you on the phone with Coach Cam, he's a super guy. He knows all about this business. He's helping people make money. Then you just edify that person, and you give them the power to influence the pastor or whoever that is you got them on the phone with. So it's that simple. I just wanted to share with y'all that process as we move through this quick presentation. So the investment, it costs $300 to get started with us. Unless you came in preseason and you was on some sort of promotion, you're paying the $300. But don't get excited, okay? You only have to pay $49.99 out of pocket, right? So I know it's the holidays and people's money is tight right now, the economy, all this stuff. So if that's the case, you're only spending $49.99 out of pocket. We can defer the other $250 to come out of your commissions, all right, once tax season starts. So that can work two ways. If you refer the $250 to come out of your commission when tax season starts, you will be starting at the 60% rate. All right. If you pay the $250, you decide I want to go ahead and knock my $250 out up front. As long as you get it done by December 31st, then you get to come in for making that investment prior to tax season. You get to come in at a 70% rate instead of a 60% rate. And here's another thing. That $49.99, you only spending $30 of it right now. $30 comes to Prosperity Tax Solution. The other $19.99 is actually being paid to the IRS so that you can get a PTIN, which is a preparer identification number that everybody that prepares returns and want to get paid has to have that PTIN number from the IRS. So you can literally wait till right before you start filing taxes to get that PTIN. So technically, the only money you really have to spend out of your pocket up front is $30. All right, you're only spending $30. Now, for those, like I said, if it's in the budget and you can afford to pay your $250 up front instead of waiting on it to come out of the back end, that's going to be a better situation. And here's why. That 10% difference in commission could be the difference between making $11,000 and $13,000 if you were to do 100 returns, right? And here's another thing. Anyone that pays that $250 up front, if you refer that person, you're going to get a $100 commission from that referral. So you can literally do this thing like this. Refer 3 people that you know are in a position to take care of theirs up front. Now you got the money to take care of yours up front, just so long as it all get done by December 31st. So it's just an excellent program. In worst case scenario, you spending $30 out of your pocket, right? I mean, the best case scenario, you spending $30 out of your pocket, however you want to say it. Y'all get the point, right? So that's what it costs to get started. Let's talk a little bit about the payroll. There's a couple different ways that people send off tax returns. You can either e-file it or you can actually print it out and mail it. All right. So these are the time periods it takes to get the refund, depending on how you send off the tax return. So if you e-file it and the person is getting direct deposit, it can take up to 3 weeks. All right. If you print out a paper return and the person is getting direct deposit, it's going to take them 6 to 8 weeks to get their money. All right. So there's another option That's if you e-file it with a bank product. 99.9% of the returns we do are going to be done with a bank product. We utilize a bank called Refund Advantage. So basically what that does is when the IRS release that refund, it goes to Refund Advantage, and Refund Advantage will take our preparation fees out and send them to us, and they would send the rest of the refund directly to the taxpayer via direct deposit into their bank account. So that takes around 21 days, sometime a little bit sooner. But the way we pay you is if we receive that money from Refund Advantage prior to Wednesday night or prior to Wednesday morning, then we process all the payrolls, do all the calculations, and we send out a direct deposit on Thursday so that you can have it by Friday. So in essence, you're going to be getting a check every Friday or direct deposit every Friday from us as the stuff come in. Now, if for some reason the money comes to us later in the week, like after Wednesday morning, then you'll get that money on the following Friday, right? Because we got to have a little bit of time to get the payroll process. So that's how that works. But in essence, you'll be getting paid every Friday as the refunds start coming in. And because we are affiliated with Refund Advantage, we are a full service tax office. So you'll be a full service mobile preparer, meaning you will have the abilities to set up direct deposit. You will even have the ability to print checks for your clients. I don't recommend it, but just like with the other, franchise tax companies out there, you'll be able to do the exact same thing. So there's nothing someone can go to another tax office and do that they can't do with you through Prosperity Tax Group. So you can even offer advances, and they would typically get approved from somewhere between $250 to $7,000. So we do advances up to $7,000, and that starts in January as well. So you have a full service mobile tax office, and you can do anything any of those other tax services can do. Now, let's talk about marketing training. Look, everything we do is going to be on YouTube, through our private Facebook group, or through training videos. And most of everything you'll be able to find on the private Facebook group. So once you get started with us, make sure you lock into the private Facebook group and don't just look at it once. I mean, tap in every day. There's more and more stuff being added every day. So you want to be proactive and just be on that private Facebook group. Look at it every day, see what's being updated, look at all the training. Everything that you're going to need is right there on the private Facebook group. So you'll have training videos, you'll be able to see the software walkthrough, you'll be able to get everything you need on that group. So definitely lock into that and make sure you're watching it and paying attention to the post and being active every day on that group. All right, so that's, again, I'm showing you that's what the private Facebook group looks like. That's the office number for anyone that needs it, that may want to call and ask me additional questions. It's 980-565-0009. And I'm gonna give y'all a few minutes to get that. So get plugged in. This is the same thing I was just talking about, plug into the YouTube and the Facebook groups and everything, and emails. So check your emails. I know, I run into people from time to time who say, well, I rarely check my emails. I mean, check your emails, because you'll be getting stuff from us on a regular basis. I'm not going to talk much about the post-season trip yet, because we hadn't finalized all the plans yet, but there will be a post-season trip for all of our IBOs. And last thing is just ignore negativity. And what do I mean by that? When you're actually sharing this information with people, you're going to hear things like, if you're brand new to this, you've never done taxes, you don't have any experience, how can you do this, or how am I do that? Listen, we're going to get you trained. We have videos training, and we have written training, electronic documents for you to read. You're basically going to get training in it, and there's going to be times where we're going to do Zooms like this just for training, and I'll be walking you through certain things through and through the software and stuff like that. So don't worry about the fact that if you're brand new to this and you've never done a tax return in your life and you're kind of scared, a little intimidated, don't worry about it. You don't have to be good at math, okay, to do taxes. You can't get any customers. We're going to show you how to do your marketing. As a matter of fact, we're putting together a marketing video right now. To recruit IBOs is just some of the same stuff I just went over in the beginning. But to get customers, that's a different process. But we're going to have training. We're going to show you how to do that as well. Everybody does their taxes online or themselves. That's not true, right? There's millions of people who go to tax offices, who use mobile tax professionals just like yourself and get their taxes done. I know a handful of millionaires just from tax services, right? They've been doing this for a number of years and they making hundreds of thousands of dollars every year just from tax services. So don't believe the hype. Okay, you don't know anything about running the business. Don't worry about it. We're gonna teach you. You mess up something, you go into jail. No, you're not. We're gonna review everything. As long as you're not out there intentionally doing anything fraudulent, you're gonna be fine. We got somebody on the back end to review your returns to make sure everything is up to par. You don't have to worry about that. I don't play around with the IRS. I don't either. You know, when I was younger, we used to say that the IRS stand for individuals representing Satan. Everybody hated the IRS, okay? But hey, they just people. You can talk to people. Matter of fact, I enjoy calling the IRS now. I talk to them. I ask them questions. You know, they my people. All right. So you don't have to fear the IRS. And it's too late to get started. It is not too late. All right. It's only going to take you a week or so to get up and running. Once you get locked into the system and start going through the training, it's not too late. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe any other BS these people are coming up with to keep you from going out there being successful and making this money. We got you covered here at Prosperity Tax Solutions. So how do you get started? We're gonna talk about how to get started, and then we're gonna wrap it up and talk and do some questions and answers. So it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. It's just a 3-step process. All of these links that you see here are in the chat. I put them in the chat before we got started. But if you watch the replay, because I am recording this, so it will be available for replay. I'll probably put it up on my YouTube channel. So all of these links will be in the description of the video there. But basically, all you have to do is it's a IBO app that you fill out, a very short app. You just click the link, fill out the app. Then there's a payment link for you to pay your $30, and then you join the private Facebook group in that order. Once I receive your app, I'll start engaging with you. I'll start sending you training, different things, show you how to get your software, show you how to get everything you need to get started. And then we have 2 videos that you're going to share with people, one for recruiting, one for getting clients. You just share, and invite them to this live Zoom where they can get their questions answered like we're about to do right now. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And we're going to open the lines up. I'm going to unmute everyone, and we're going to open it up for a little bit of Q&A. So actually, I'm not going to unmute everyone because we may get a lot of background noise. But if you have a question, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and fire away. And I was talking a little fast because I wanted to save as much time as possible for the Q&A. I must have did a great job. No questions? Don't be shy. Well, if no one has any questions, then I'll take a couple of minutes to share with y'all the software so y'all can see what it looks like. One thing, I have a co-branded software. Prosperity Tax Group has a co-branded software, but it's made by a company called TaxSlayer. So if anyone is on here familiar with doing taxes, they may have seen the TaxSlayer software. We have a we have a co-branded software through TaxSlayer. So let me see if I can share my screen really quick, and I'll show y'all what the software looks like, and then we'll get off of here, and I'll turn y'all back over to your evening. Unfortunately, when you're sharing on through Zoom, doing a screen share, it slows down the performance of the software. So it'll move a lot faster for you all. So if y'all can see the screen, here we are on the software. If you look up here to the top right, you can change the year. So not only will you be able to do the 24 taxes that are upcoming, you can actually do prior year taxes as well, going as far back as 2019. And I will even give you the ability to go further if you need that. But most of the time, you're dealing with people, they're not going back more than 3 or 4 years. So you're gonna have the current year and the prior year software, right? So just to show you how simple this software is, well, actually, I'm gonna go to 2023 because they're still updating the 24 version, and some things are not available right now. So I'm gonna take about 10 minutes with this. I'm not gonna go through all of it. I'm not gonna go do a deep dive. I'm just gonna kind of skim the surface just to show you how simple it is. So you're going to be using our mobile app. We have a secure mobile app that you can send to your clients. They're going to fill in some of the preliminary information. So some of the things I'm going to show you right now, you won't even have to fill that in. You're just gonna click on the you're going to get a message. You're going to be able to open it up and click on that client, and then some of that information will populate. We'll go into that later, but let's just say you didn't have the information already. You would just go here. I don't know if y'all saw that. Let me slow down. Start new 2023 tax return. So that's how you start a new return. You simply put in a social, and I'm just gonna make up a social just to show y'all how simple this is. This right here says make sure that the customer signs the 7216, which is the consent to use. You'll learn more about that. But when they send you their information through the mobile app, they would have already did that. It'll prompt them to e-sign that when they send you their information. So you hit OK. Trust me, it's not going to move this slow for you. Here, next thing you want to do is select a filing status. I'm just going to say this person was head of household. If you're not sure what each filing status mean and what they would be, you can go right here to the filing status wizard. All right, and it'll give you an explanation and help you determine which the filing status. After that, you just simply hit continue. And then you're going to put in the taxpayer's information. If it came through a mobile app, all of this information would already be here. But let's just call this person John, last name taxpayer. And I'm just gonna do about 10 minutes of this just to show you how simple this is. And then I'll double check and see if anyone has any questions again, and then we'll get off here. John taxpayer, the social's already there. We put that in. We give a birthday. Now, the things that are in red, obviously, they're mandatory fields. These don't have a star, so it's not mandatory, but it's going to always be best for you to get as much information as possible. So if you know the occupation, let's go ahead and put it in there. All right. Then you're just gonna check that whichever box applies. So taxpayer is deceased. Well, we know this taxpayer isn't deceased, but if someone died in the middle of the tax year, they still it's still an obligation to get those taxes filed. So we could be filing the return for a deceased person. Are they blind? Taxpayer was over age 18 and a full-time student. Just read through it. If you can read and click, you can get through this part, right? Then you're going down here to the address area. If they active duty military, but they live in the states, you check here. If they in the military and they got a foreign address, you check there. But in this case, This person is not in the military, so we're just going to go ahead and put their address as 1040 Tax Street. You put in the zip code, and that'll automatically fill in the city and state, as you can see here. The residence, North Carolina, you put in a phone. We'll go ahead and put the office phone in there, and then that's it. You always want to put an email, because we send people their tax returns electronically. So if you don't have an email, you can't send it to them. So you always want to put a email in here. Then hit continue. So this person is obviously in North Carolina. You want to choose the county, and based on the zip code I put there for the office, that is Rowan County. Hit continue. They head of household, so they got dependents. So do you have any dependents or qualifying person to claim on your return? In this case, it would be yes. You hit continue. You put the name of the dependent. We're going to make this a junior. So the last name is going to already be populated. They're going to put the name of the last name of the taxpayer in there. In some cases, the child and the parent don't have the same last name. So if that's the case, just change it. All right. You want to put the child's social. I got to put a social that looks similar to a real social. You can't just put, when you're practicing, and I want y'all to do that. I want y'all to come in here and practice. When you're practicing returns, when you get to the dependent, you got to put something that's similar to a real social. Actually, you can practice and do your own return, so you can put real information in here. No, I mean, it's a secure portal. Nobody's going to see it but you. But so because if you put like the 999s like I did in there for the dependents, the system knows that's a fake social, and it's not going to calculate earned income credit. All right, so you would check this box if they don't have a social or I-10. U.S. citizen, yes. They want to know the relationship. This is my son or the taxpayer's son. How long did the dependent live in the house? We want to put 12 months. Even if it's a newborn, let's say the child was just born in December, and it's January, we filing taxes. They only been in the house a month. But in cases where the child is born, you get to claim the whole 12 months. And then you check out any of these that apply. If they're a college student, disabled, anything like that. In this case, none of this applies. We're going to hit continue. Let me check my time. Okay, it's 8:30. Okay, we doing well. So if you had another dependent, guess what you would do? You just click here and add another dependent. And you just click that for as many dependents as they had. If they got 3 or so, you just click that and keep adding them. All right. If you had documents that prove that this was a dependent, if you needed those for whatever reason, you could add a birth certificate or a death certificate or a medical record. In this case, we're not adding any of that. And you probably won't be adding any of that when you're doing your returns. So if you needed to update the filing status or the personal information, you could. Right here it says IRS Identity Protection PIN, IRS Identity Protection PIN. So if someone has that PIN, they know it, they know they got an identity protection PIN, they'll provide that to you. You just click here and put that PIN in if they have a identity protection PIN. If you don't have one, if you don't know what that is, then you don't have one. All right. Because the IRS will issue that to you if you needed that, if you experienced some fraud or something in the past, and you want to make sure that no one can file your return without having that PIN, then the IRS will provide you with that PIN. Continue. Gets to the income section. As you can see here, is all forms of income here. You got your W-2s if somebody got a 1099. 1099 miscellaneous, Schedule C. So if it's a single member LLC or sole proprietorship, they got a little side hustle or business. Um, just like next year, you'll be filling out a Schedule C for the income you make with us. And doing this Schedule C. So in this case, we're just gonna say they're just a regular person. They just got a W-2. So we're gonna go ahead and open that up. Great thing about a W-2 is the box numbers and letters on the W-2 corresponds with the box and numbers here. So you just go in and you just fill that out exactly like it appears on the W-2. So let's say the tax ID number, you're getting it right off of the W-2. I'm just making up fictitious information. Let's say you worked at Prosperity Tax. Let's say the address, and this is just, I'm just trying to get through this because I don't want to keep y'all too long. And you'll be able to see another video with this on it. I'll be recording just a software walkthrough where we'll go into more detail. Um, let's say you made 25,000. Once you put the gross income in, then you'll notice that Social Security tax and Medicare tax automatically populate. Just look at the W-2, verify that information is correct. It could change from time to time. Like if you had a retirement account of 401k or something, it will affect these numbers. But typically it's just a straight calculation. Then you put in how much taxes they paid, federal taxes straight off the W-2. And if any of these other boxes apply, you just look straight on the W-2 and fill it in. I'm gonna skip all of these because the most W-2s are simple. Some have retirement and stuff like that, but you just get the information off the W-2. So we're gonna choose state of North Carolina, and then there's a North Carolina ID. Just make that up. How much he paid in state taxes. All right, and you just continue. Now, that's the W-2. If you had 2, 3, 4 W-2s, you just keep hitting this plus button and adding more and more W-2s. All right. So here's the income section. Also, I wanted to point out over here, I'm hitting continue so it can just take me through the return. But if you knew exactly where you wanted to go, you can actually come over here to this left toolbar and you can actually just click and go straight to the forms. Which I do that a lot, but for a brand new person, just continue every time through the software. You don't have to worry about going over here and trying to go straight to it. So once you do that, you will see that it starts to calculate a federal refund for you, right? So if you got any deductions, itemized deduction, if you're doing a Schedule A, if they need to itemize or anything, then these are the forms. We're not going to do it for this particular tax return. I'm just going to hit continue. Other taxes, like I said, we're going to keep it simple. Just a taxpayer, a child, and a couple W-2s is all we putting in for this illustration here. We don't have any of these miscellaneous forms. Affordable Care Act. So if somebody got insurance through if they had their health insurance through the Affordable Care Act, you would check yes. And they would also have a 1095-A. It's just a tax document that they're going to send out if you had your insurance through the Affordable Care Act. You hit yes, and then you answer the questions that comes behind it. But we're going to hit no. They didn't have theirs through the Affordable Care Act because I don't have a 1095-A in front of me to fill that out. And it's a little bit harder just to make up that information. All right. So we don't need to change anything there as far as residency. And that was it. I mean, we pretty much threw this return, and we did that in what a couple minutes. So it says reason for no. So the earned income credit is not being calculated here for some reason. And that's probably because of that social. So let me come over here and go back to the basic information. I want to look at the dependent. And then you can either delete it or edit it. I'm going to hit edit here. And let's look at the birthday, 2000. Probably just don't like that made up social security number. See if I change it, if it'll help. You won't have that problem when you're putting in a real information. Yeah, that didn't fix it either. But either way, you won't have that problem when you're putting in real information. It will calculate the earned income credit. So we're going to go back to where we were. Good thing is I'm glad this popped up. So something's not quite right. So anytime you didn't type in something or the system figured out that there was an error somewhere, it'll let you know, and you can go right there and actually and fix that situation. Yeah, so that's what it don't like the tax ID, like when I'm just putting that made up information in there, the system didn't like the information I made up. So I don't want to go back and forth with that. So once this error is corrected, it'll take you straight to where the fees are. You can actually see how much it the fees calculates. You can see the fees and you can send the return off to your customer. So what I'm gonna do when I do my next video, I'm gonna get some real or some better information, not real. Well, actually, I'm gonna put real information in on the recording because I'm able to blur out someone's social. You won't be able to see it, but I can't put real information here because it won't be blurred out and it's live, and I can't share like real information over a live Zoom. So anyway, so that's it. We're gonna go ahead and stop share, but that's as simple as it is. That return is pretty much practically done. It's just fix that one error, where I put in the fake social security numbers and tax IDs, and the return is done. This federal refund, once the earned income credit is calculated, it's going to be a way higher than $3,000, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing this, and we're gonna go ahead and open that back up for questions. So, any questions this time before we get off of here? No questions about the software, no questions about anything. All right.
Calvin, this is Coach. I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, let's say that person, that $3,000 was the return amount. What is the process if they wanted to get a loan on that for that 3,000?
Yeah, so once you get to the next page, it wouldn't let me proceed to the next page because it won't until you clear that error. It's going to show what their refund is, what our fees is, and then you have to select how you want the return to you got to select the bank, which is Refund Advantage, and then it'll give you an option. It'll say, will this person be applying for a refund advance or refund loan? You hit yes, and then when you submit it, it'll come back with an approval and how much they qualify for.
All right, thank you.
So it's just a matter of checking one box. When you get to that next screen, just check the box that says yes, they do want the advance, and it'll let them know how much they qualify for.
Calvin, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What are the fees like for the advances? Or is it, I'm sure they have to pay for that, right?
Not for the advance.
Oh,
They don't, yeah, it's not gonna, there's no cost for them to get the advance.
oh.
Yeah. And we can't charge them extra fees for getting the advance too. I'm glad you asked that question because, you know, sometimes you'll see preparers saying, well, I'm gonna charge, man, we giving them an advance, I'm gonna charge them an extra 100. No, you can't do that. If they want the advance, they can get the advance. We can't charge them extra fees to give them the advance.
And what is the turnaround time on the advance? Is it
The
immediate?
advance will be approved within 24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. If you get it done early in the day, sometime the same day, but within 24 hours. And I recommend everybody do direct deposit because if they apply for the advance and they get approved, they're going to have their money direct deposit that day or the next day. You don't want to be trying to print a check out. As a matter of fact, we're going to stay away from trying to print checks out. It's going to become a headache for you.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when is the earliest that they can apply for an advance?
January 2nd.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
And most people, I have a question. Most people they'll be able to use their last pay stub, correct?
Um, we're not supposed to do that. I know that there's tax officers out there to do it. But the IRS says that's a big no-no. You can actually get in trouble for using last pay stubs because they don't always match the W-2. And they should, and so it depends on the pay cycle. And then there's other things on W-2s, like if they had retirement accounts and they was taking money out for health and dental and all this, like there's a lot of information that you won't have when you're using that W-2. Um, so yeah, we really supposed to stay away from them last pay stubs.
Okay,
So
and
what
does
do
this
you use?
apply?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, D'Amber.
Does this apply also to a 1099 as well? Contractor? How does that work?
Well, if you're a 1099 contractor, that's going to be a little bit different. Typically, when you see people filing tax returns like on the first day, like in the beginning, they typically are 1099 people because they don't have that W-2.
Right.
Just got a 1099. They know what their gross income was. Yeah, so you can go ahead and file.
And it's the same format, correct? I
Yeah,
think that's what I'm asking. Okay.
yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Calvin, this is Coach again.
Yes.
That 1099 brings up another area that you probably need to explain in terms of getting paid because
Mhm.
the average person that's dealing with a 1099, they hadn't paid any money toward their taxes during the course of the year, whether quarterly or whatever the case may be. So the more sophisticated the tax the client is, some of them have done that, but most haven't. So you're going to get into a situation where now you got to invoice them for your payment. You may want to get into that conversation as well as the fact that we have the ability on the software to charge a different price. It isn't a set fee.
Yeah, so so basically what we're doing most of the time is when somebody's getting a refund, the fees comes out of their refund. In places where people are self-employed, own a business, 1099, a lot of times they're not paying taxes. A lot of times they got expenses and stuff to write off, and they're just hoping to break even unless they got a dependent child and they get some earned income credit or some of those other things. But in most cases, people like that are um, uh, just happy to break even. So in that case, there's no refund for us to take our fees out of. We will have to invoice that person and charge them for their fees. You know, they'll have to pay their fees out of pocket because there's no refund to take that out of in a situation like that. And again, like Coach Roy mentioned, When we get to the fee screen and on the recorded video, you'll see that you can adjust the fees. Now, keep in mind, you're getting whatever your rate is. If you're at a 60%, then if you adjust the fees, then you're getting 60% of that adjusted fee, right? So I wouldn't do a whole lot of adjusting, but in some cases, to keep the client, you may need to adjust the fees a little bit, and that's perfectly fine. You have the ability to do that. Someone else was chiming in when D'Amber was speaking. Who was that?
I have a
That
question.
was me.
Oh, go ahead.
I
So
think
you answered the question.
okay.
I think I was wanting to know kind of what the same thing she was asking. So you basically can do early 1099s, but you can't do W-2s early.
Right. Yeah, you can't, yeah. Typically a person will know what their growth, how much they made if they're a 1099 employee. And a lot of times no taxes came out. But yeah, we can't use the last pay stub like for a W-2 employee to do a tax return.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Keisha.
So is it better to sit with your client while you're doing their taxes, or is it okay to just, I mean, in case we have questions, what's the best way, just for time and efficiency to do it without them and just call, if you have questions, or do it with them so they can go through it with you?
99% of the returns I do, they're being done remotely. Like I'm not sitting with the client. We're not even in the same city, right? So first of all, is you can do anybody's return in the nation, so it doesn't matter where they are. Once you send them that mobile app, they'll be able to fill out the preliminary information and create a portal, and then they can take a picture of their W-2 ID, Social Security card. All that's going to be uploaded to you through a secure portal. Then you can prepare to return, and then you can just simply call the person and say, "Hey, Keisha, great news! I just completed your tax return. It looks like you're getting $6,000 after fees." I always say after fees.